everybody. Good evening. It's Wednesday, 12th of April 2023, and here we are for one more talk, more episode of Spiritual Light. And today's topic is the purpose of incarnation according to Spiritism. So we go through some points of reincarnation, why we should be here, the reasons, and the purposes. So that's what we're expecting from today. But thank God I am not alone. I have my two friends here. And good evening, Silvia. Welcome back.
Hello, good evening. Thank you. I miss being with you, but I did hear it on YouTube. And it's really nice to be back, although my voice is still a bit bad, but it's coming back slowly. So it's a very interesting topic today, and it's something that's really needed to talk about. So I'm very happy and to be here and to be talking about this theme. So, boa noite a todos, boa tarde, bem-vindos mais uma vez na nossa conversa. Hoje é um tema especial sobre a necessidade da encarnação, da reencarnação, de nós estarmos na Terra, e é um tema muito importante para discutirmos. Então, bem-vindo a todos, que Jesus nos abençoe.
Amém. Bonsoir, Charles.
Bonsoir, Stevan. Bonsoir, Silvia. Welcome back, Silvia. All the best recovery. Happy to be here again with all of you and all the assistants to talk about reincarnation. Reincarnation is an interesting topic. We know that dominant religions in our area, mainly in the Christian religions, do not teach nowadays reincarnation. It's coming more from the Oriental countries. Nevertheless, Spiritism brought it back, showing the very big logic behind it. And this is what we will try to clarify a little bit today. Bonsoir à tous, merci d'être là et de nous donner cette occasion de pouvoir vous parler un peu de la réincarnation.
Good evening, Marcos. Thank you for being here with us. So let me start with our video. Let me go here and here.
Our bodies will disappear, not disappear into nothingness. They will break down and they will become other things in nature. But our energy goes to what we call the spiritual world. It's difficult to imagine how that is or where that is, but it is somewhere. It is an existence. We progress a certain amount each time we're here. So when we come into an incarnation to live on Earth, we have an opportunity of learning. It's like a class, like a year at school. We learn a certain amount of things, but we don't learn everything, for sure. Some people live a few years, and some people live 100 years. So that wouldn't be fair that some people get a long time to be here and others just a short time. So to imagine that we have a period of recovery or meditation or whatever, and then we come back to have another opportunity to carry on developing our understanding of the world. And that makes sense because if you look at people around the world, and even in your own family, sometimes there are people who can be quite young in terms of biological years, but they're so wise. Where has this wisdom come from? And other people who can be much older, but they can be quite like children still. So we can imagine that we come back, and each time we come back, we have opportunity to learn and develop.
Good. Our Anne Sinclair always sharp and giving us good information. Well, let me introduce a little bit because when we talk to reincarnation, we can say to live, to die, and to be reborn. No, so for some religions, we only live once. Um, However, more than these religious, metaphysical way out is needed to explain the complexity of life. So, reincarnation is increasingly being accepted as truth, and we can obtain answers that make much more sense about our existence. Uh, what we can say today, you live just once, is outdated. But the concept of reincarnation balances the world's pains, bring a more rational perspective to, to our human suffering without making visible the negative manifestations of our most primitive conscience, which is what is this conscience? It is responsible for injustice, social differences, hunger, and all kinds of human miseries. It also brings a meaning to our existence that no other religion can offer: evolution and learn. Let's talk about um, reincarnation. And when we mention reincarnation, the logical question is why we reincarnate. And Charles, can we start with you, my friend?
Thank you, Stevan. Why do we incarnate?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the spirits are telling us the incarnation is necessary for the evolution of the soul of the spirit. Okay. At our evolution level, there is almost no other way, or at least no better way to progress and to evolve than by incarnating. So this is why when we are in the spiritual world, we see the other spirits evolving, progressing. We want to progress as well. And we understand that the best way to progress is to incarnate. So we decide, according to with the help of the benefactors, of course, for a new life, where we will incarnate in order to have to progress also ourselves. Okay, so this is why we incarnate. Now, once we are incarnated, we come with a plan. We want to do a certain number of things. But who can say that we have done all what we wanted to do? No one. Nobody can reach perfection in only one life. On top of this, as you told clearly, and Anna Sinclair as well at the beginning, some come in, I would say, favorable conditions, with good parents, good education, and so on. And some others come with much more difficult conditions, like born in a country without education, or in a very poor, like favela or things like that. And then, of course, if you make the reasoning, who has the most changes to progress more than the other is the one who comes in the good conditions. Okay, so it would not be according to God's justice to have such type of situation where bad luck, I did not have good conditions, so I could not evolve as much as I would have liked to evolve. So in order to conciliate what we see on the earth with God's justice, only the reincarnation means having several lives is able to answer this. the one who on one life is born in a castle can be born the next life in a favela, and vice versa. So when we have the reasoning over several lives, then we can conciliate all these apparent differences that we can see on one life. They disappear when we are reasoning on several lives. And this is also, I would say, for instance, some reincarnate as men, some reincarnate as women, but it's the same spirit. The same spirit can reincarnate as man and woman. So Spiritism is, since the beginning, one of the biggest support for the cause of feminism. For deleting all type of discrimination. There is absolutely no grounding at all, according to the Spiritist body of knowledge, because the same spirits are incarnating either male or female. Okay. So the main purpose of the incarnation that we most of the cases are doing by our choice, according to our free will, our decision, autonomously, isn't it, Stevan? Is to progress, is to enable our spirit to make progress, to become, to have progress in intelligence, also in morality. And the best way, the quickest way to progress at our evolution level is to incarnate.
Good. Beautiful. And the second question is, since we reincarnate or reincarnate, why we do lose the memory of the past? My dear Silvia, why you didn't remember you were a beautiful singer?
Oh, yeah. Um, uh, Before I answer the question, I would like to say something about the previous question as well. Why do we incarnate? For all the reasons that Charles gave, but there is another reason as well for incarnation. Like the spheres point out to us, it is also to prepare the spirit. I will read because I took some notes. Sorry. Is to prepare the spirit to perform his share in the work of creation, and for which he needs a corporeal body in harmony with the planet where he lives. So not only it's lessons that we need to go through, to learn things, to develop our intelligence and everything, but also because as spirits, we are also co-creators of the universe together with God. And the reason why we reincarnate is for us to be part of this creation, this eternal creation that there is. So there is, it's not only to come, and I think this is very important understanding, especially in many religions that accept reincarnation, but they think that's only reincarnation is only for expiation, is to pay back, what you've done and everything. Although Spiritism has a different idea of that, and it's not only for relearning and readdressing, but also for us to be part of the creation. And I think it is very important. The things we achieve, the things we learn with our intelligence, like Charles was saying, someone will become a great architect, will build beautiful buildings, will paint, will dance, will sing, whatever. And this is all part of why we are coming as well, to make life better, beautiful, and everything, which I find fascinating. And I think one of the things about Spiritism, that is always something different to learn about everything. Now, why do we forget? It's because sometimes memories can be a burden, especially if we had a very, a life that we didn't use it very well, that we committed crimes or abused our power or whatever reason. We just missed people. And to sometimes to remember that, because I think one of the main things about reincarnation and the incarnation on Earth and in other planets as well is the fact that we come to readdress certain wrongs that from our past. We come to learn new lessons. And we tend to reincarnate in families where we knew people from before. We come back to learn to appreciate them, to love them, to forgive them, and also to ask for their forgiveness to us, to ask for their support to us that in the past we may have hurt them. So not only to give, but also, and I think most importantly, to receive forgiveness from those we hurt before, and to have a memory of exactly what happened before. We wouldn't always be able to do that if we knew exactly what it was. That would be a burden. So forgetting, in a way, is a blessing, because then we can start anew, we can start afresh. Although the knowledge is within us, and quite a lot of things that we will do many times has we don't know why, but we have a memory. But mostly we start anew, and that's the opportunity we have to begin fresh. I think that's, in a way, is very much a blessing. I had an experience actually very early in my life, before I had this knowledge that I've learned now. I went to meet someone, and talked to the person on the phone, and it was very nice and everything. And I went to meet this person. I was going to stay in her house for a few days. And I got off this train. Actually, I was in Italy when this happened. I got off the train, and there was lots of people, because one of those towns where they had seaside, it was during the summer, lots of people coming in and out, lots and lots and lots of people on the station. And I looked far away, quite far across the platform, and I thought, if it's that lady, I'm not going to stay here. She wasn't even, I hadn't even seen the person yet. And I already knew I didn't want to be near that person. And of course, as soon as she turned, she came straight to me and was a person and everything. And I decided, oh no, I don't want to stay here. I want to go. And it was so crazy, because I couldn't explain why I wanted to go, why I wanted to live, when everything had been organized and was really nice and everything. But the fact, I felt so ill at ease, so uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep. I had to go. And I left early in the morning. And now, looking back, it might have been an opportunity that I missed of getting to know that person, to find out. And she was so nice to me, actually. And the whole thing was even worse, because she was so nice, so kind. And I thought, oh, I want to go, I want to go. And that's, it's all part of this experience that we have in life. I mean, had been now, I would sit down and have a little talk, But this kind of experiences, I think, in one way or another, we all have some kind of experience like that. We don't know why, but we have that feeling. So, I think that's why. And if we don't remember, I still have those feelings. Imagine if we could remember what it was. It could be a lot worse. And that's why the forgetfulness really It's a kind of light forgetfulness, but it's a blessing to have.
It's the,
So,
it's the mercy of God.
God's mercy always, always there, isn't it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And we have a question here from Camille. Hi, Camille. How are you, my friend? Is incarnation then necessary for co-creation, or spirits that are in spiritual world influence matter too, and co-create the universe? Silvia? I don't know. You want to rest? I can ask Charles because we need you to rest for your throat.
Yeah, I was trying to understand the question. Maybe it's Charles took over. Just, I'll do another one. Huh? Sorry.
Yes, so the spirits are co-creators indeed, because we just take our examples. We are creating things. We are creating everyone in his profession. Engineers are creating a machine. Artists are creating paints or sculptural or architectural things. So indeed, we are not at our first steps of evolution, but
Mhm.
after reaching a certain degree of evolution, yes, indeed, we are co-creating. Now, co-creating means we need the creation. We just can, with the skills we have, with the tools we have, create, as I explained it at the beginning. Nevertheless, we cannot make a big bang or create a solar system or a planet like the Earth. Or well, we can also, there is a law of reproduction. We have children. We are also giving opportunities for some other spirits to come and to incarnate. So all these simple examples are showing, yes, we are permanently co-creating, collaborating somehow with
Mhm.
the main creation which comes from God.
Okay.
I think just one thing, though, in relation to the question that Camille asked as well, Charles, when he says the spirit in spiritual world influence matter too. I think at this point here is just to emphasize what Charles just said, is that we need the physical body to be here in this world, in this planet where we are living. The co-creation, it's like Charles said, you can have children, you can be teachers, we can be engineers. I mean, Charles is an engineer, isn't it, by profession? So all the work that he did throughout his career is creating something, is to making this world a little better, is to, and more beautiful if you're an artist. But everyone, a person who takes the broom and is sweeping the street to making the street clean so you can live a healthy life when the streets are clean, collect the rubbish. All these people are creating something. We have a tendency to think of only the big people, but every single little work is important, is all part of the creation, is all part of making it into a better world. Someone who's working in a field is planting vegetables, is planting wheat, whatever. This is going to produce food. This is creation. This is co-creating, helping God in making this world easier for everyone to live in. It's like, I think actually the Spirit's book, it actually says this. In talking, he says, he's appointed to him by the divine ordering. Everything is ordered by God. And then he says, he's thus the spirit who's doing it, is made to contribute his quota towards the general will while achieving his own advancement. So what we're doing, each one of us, someone who's teaching, someone who's sweeping the street, someone who's a doctor, someone who's an engineer, someone who's doing business, everyone is giving a little bit for the whole. And while we do that, we are improving ourselves as well. We are advancing spiritually. So we make it, there's a better planet. So it means that the planet evolve with the people who are evolving in it, and towards the everyone's well-being, but also for your own advancement. So it's perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Evolve and progress as it should be. And let me see here. Marcos just put a word here. And okay, I think we can go to the next question. Does the spirit identify himself with matter?
Me?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
sure.
good.
Yeah, let's start with you.
Yes, so that's one big philosophical question. Huh? If the spirit is immaterial, how can he act upon matter? Okay. And the spirits, they really helped Kardec in order to solve this philosophical question by saying, by stating, or by revealing that we have the spirit has a spiritual body, what Kardec is calling perispirit, okay, spiritual body. So this spiritual body is not material, as we explained it already, as a matter that is studied by physics here on Earth. Means particles, the Mendeleev table of hydrogen, and so on. In the 4 dimensions, 3 for space, 1 for time. All of this submitted to some limits, like the speed of light that cannot be, how to say, there is nothing being able to go higher than the speed of light. And even to go to speed of light, you need to have a nil mass, like the photons, the light. As soon as you have a mass, the energy you need to reach the speed of light would be infinite. So this is characterizing the matter as we know it in the science, in the physics. And the spirit is, look at me, I'm raising hands, I'm talking, and so on. So my spirit is acting upon my physical body, which is matter. And how does my spirit manage to do this? It is thanks to the spiritual body, which is so-called by Kardec semi-material, or in other words, it is matter, but not in the same density as the matter we study by physics, and also not subject to the same limits, like the speed of light, as the physical matter is. Okay, so with this we can understand that there is an intermediary spiritual body which enables the spirits to act upon matter when we are incarnated. It helps also the spirits to act upon matter when they are disincarnated, by the help of some mediums which are proper for some physical effects, for instance. And in the mediumship, the communication between a spirit and through the medium is done from the spiritual body of the disincarnated spirit to the spiritual body of the incarnated medium. Okay, and this notion of the perispirit is really solving all this issue, all this problem. So the spirit itself does not identify himself with matter. Nevertheless, my physical body, for instance, and your physical body, Stevan or Silvia, is, how to say, built, organized through the first cell, so with a genetic, with a given genome, but how to say, the shape of my body and what is maintaining my body as it is, of course, by getting older, having a little bit more, this thing from that comes with the ages, but keeping the same mindset. So Charles is always Charles, with some evolution, of course, some progress, of course, thanks God, during the same life. And this is maintained, even so all the physical matter which is composing our physical body is, I think, 100% exchanged in something like every 4 years. Okay, so there need to be some model, some template, maintaining all these consistencies, maintaining all the personalities, the mediumship, the shape of the physical body, and this is done exactly through this spiritual body. Okay, so the boss in myself is the spirit. Okay, that is where the intelligence is located. My spirit is then gathering some of the semi-matter according to where he's located. For instance, here on Earth, it's semi-matter coming from the Earth to do my spiritual body as per the field, the template given by the spirit. And then the spirit with the spiritual body is then giving the template while incarnated to the physical body. Okay. Of course, we get older, and this is because we need, on top of these three things, one more thing, which is a vital fluid, which is some kind of fuel for fueling the life.
We need to
And
fill up the tank.
sorry,
We need to fill up the tank.
we need to fill up the tank, yes. And when this fuel is getting little, or when there is no fuel anymore, then the life stops, and the spirit with his spiritual body is freed from the physical body, which is then going back to the earth and which is recycled by the nature. So
Yeah.
there are three things: spirit, spiritual body, and corporeal body, inner self, on top of the fuel, which is a vital fluid. So the question is a little bit difficult to answer. Does spirit identify himself with matter? It works as per what I just described, in order to enable what we are seeing. To be or not to be, that is the question. We are here, we are talking, we are reasoning, and so on. So the laws behind all this is what I tried to explain shortly.
Yeah, Charles. It's important always to remember, because we needed to evolve, we needed to progress, and we are here transitory. We can be in another planet, in another world, in another mission, but it's not because you are here and you will reincarnate, you're gonna die and you reincarnate. It means you are evolving. You need to work on your moral qualities in order to evolve. Otherwise, it's gonna be like those games in which you die, then you have another life, you die, you have another life, you don't, a non-stop thing, and you it's not mean you not progress, but you will be stagnated. You're gonna spinning your wheels, waiting for you to wake up and understand the lesson. So that's why we need to work in our incarnation, to work our moral progression.
That's true, Steven. No? The progress has to be in intelligence, but not only. It has to be in intelligence and in goodness, in morality. That's why nowadays we talk about the IQ, intelligent quotient, to measure the intelligence, which is by far not considered enough anymore nowadays by the human resources of everywhere. You need also the EQ, which is the emotional intelligence. You need to be able to control your emotions. You need to be able to how to say, to find some compromises, ways to negotiate with a client, a customer. You need also to be able to work inside the team and so on. And nowadays there is a new intelligence which is coming, which is a little bit closer to this moral evolution that Spiritism is talking about, is what is so-called the spiritual intelligence. So it's a new concept that is coming since a little bit more than a decade. And this is really going towards goodness, towards humility, towards all these main qualities that the spirits came to recall from what Jesus has told us. And all this, what is interesting is we talk about spiritual intelligence completely independently of any type of religion. Okay, you can have people which are following a religion but which have a low spiritual intelligence, and you can have the opposite as well, people with a high spiritual intelligence which are not following any religion. So the things are getting independent right now, and this is better because it opens the field for more and more acceptation.
Yeah. I think one thing that's important as well is that our physical body reflects a spiritual body that reflects our spirit. So when we incarnate, sometimes we bring many things, illnesses or physical disabilities, whatever, that was created in the past, and our body, our spiritual body, reflects that from our spirit. So it's not the spirit reflects our body, but our body that reflects the spirit. So it's inside out. So, and what makes people with a beautiful spirit is that kindness, like you both were saying, consideration to others. The good that you do is that what weighs and makes a spirit beautiful and light and opens the path for a lot of things. So to be aware of this moral part of ourselves, both sides, because sometimes you go so much into the intelligence. And I think this point that Charles made about the intelligence is very, very important, because before people used to concentrate so much in how many what's the level of your IQ. And you have people extremely intelligent that absolutely waste their lives. They don't do anything with their intelligence, and it's still sometimes you see that often, this boy, he has more intelligence than Einstein. Fine, but I mean, we all know what Einstein did with his intelligence, and other people he worked. He was a really kind person, Einstein. He was very considerate, and he was a very spiritual person, Einstein, although, he was sort of the cutting edge of science, and is still very much so. But he was a very kind, very spiritual person. And I think that's what brings the beauty and brings kindness. Its own, has its own strength in us, to show kindness. And, like you said, Steven, to work on your moral side. It's not always easy, but it's a path, isn't it? It goes every day a little bit.
We have to go through
It's
it.
important.
Yeah. So good evening, Rodrigo. Good to have you here, my friends. And I don't know if it's a question or a comment. Marco put it here. Existed a perfect planet for reincarnation. Always the plan is good. What problem is our free will? The plan is always perfect. Our free will is the trick thing here. You're on mute, Charles.
The use we make out of our free will. No?
Yeah.
And what is certainly right is we incarnate in the right planet, which is the best suitable for the purpose of our evolution, as we told.
Yeah.
Like when you go to school, when you start, you have to go to the kindergarten. You cannot go to the university. You will not understand anything. And once you have reached a certain level, it doesn't help you a lot to go back to the kindergarten. You need to be where you have to be in order to have the best conditions for learning and for progressing. And it's the same for the reincarnations. But there is one thing we didn't talk yet is after reaching a certain degree of evolution, there is no need anymore to reincarnate in some heavy material body like the one we have. That's also another thing. So we need to reincarnate at our current level of evolution. And since me, you, Stevan, and Silvia are reincarnated here on Earth in a heavy material body, means because we are not yet angels. We still need to come to this planet, and if we would be angels, we would be already somewhere else. So we have to cope with this and to stay humble and aware of the route we have in front of us.
But we will be angels. Eventually,
We
we'll
will
get
be,
there.
yes.
And it's interesting because sometimes, the life experiences we have will progress really in many, many ways. But sometimes when you're challenged, when we study, when we read, we really make an effort to be better, to think, to forgive, to give the best that we can. And in most times we do that, but every now and then life challenges you, and then you think, oh, suddenly you find yourself with thoughts that are not so good or something. So it's all part of this up and down, that once we achieve a point, we will never go back. The spirit will never retrograde, we will never go into a lower level, but we can stay there for, in the same place for a while. So I think what we need to do really is at these moments in which we are challenged, what we really believe a challenge is that we need to work harder. And then we grow, progress a little bit. And as we go, it becomes easier, doesn't it? Hopefully become easier, because there is less thing. And of course, giving a certain point, like Charles said, we may go to reincarnate in a planet that the physical body is not so dense, in a planet where there is no more wars because everyone considers everyone else. And it's only when you really develop into the highest spirit that you almost lose your spiritual body, almost becomes pure light. But it takes a while. But also, there are many spirits who have already progressed to very, very high, the highest levels, but they choose to reincarnate on Earth so they can help the people here to progress. And I think this is very important, because some spirits will make the sacrifice when they could live in a much nicer and a much loving planet. They come back here so they can help us, to give a hand, to show us the best way to live. And so we are very grateful to all of them.
Thank you, my dear. And Charles, good question here from Rodrigo. Why do we need a body?
I think I've already.
the spirits are explaining us that at our current level of evolution, we need to reincarnate in a physical body like we are today. Okay. We forget the past, so that's one of the advantage, as Silvia explained it already, because if you would have always the remembrance of all the bad things we did in the past, it would be hard to live with it. Okay. And I'm very happy not to remember all the bad things I made in the past. And I don't want to know. Some people want to know. I need to know why I'm suffering. I need to know exactly what bad thing I did in the past. I don't need to know. I don't want to know.
They already know. That's the problem. They say
Voilà.
they want to know. They already know. The
Voilà.
fact that they said, "Oh, I want to know," means they already do know.
Exactly. From the tendency you have in one life, you can imagine the type of bad things you have done in the previous ones. Okay.
Yeah.
So the test, you have big, good resolution in the spiritual world and so on, but the real test, validating test of your evolution is in the physical body. Okay, this on top of the co-creation, as we have told at the beginning. So definitively, yes, we need a physical body at our evolution level in order to progress. At least at my evolution level, I need a physical still to have a physical body.
Yes, but
And the physical body, is also, we can develop a little bit more. Sorry, Silvia.
no, sorry.
We need to work, we need to eat, we have a lot of constraints being a physical body, and this is inducing us, our spirits, to work, to learn, you see, and by working, by learning, you are progressing. So the fact to have a physical body with all the constraints is also helping in the progress of the spirit.
Exactly. I mean, I was going to say more or less same thing, because I think how the spirits really explain to us, in order for us to progress, we need to go through the vicissitudes that we find in the physical body. And I think Charles just gave a very good example of the effort that we have to we have to learn to read and write. We needed to learn how to eat. We needed to learn how to build our houses, to protect ourselves. And like the explanation that Charles gave was really good, because that's we need to have the experience of the physical body. And I think it goes to a question that was before: can we evolve and learn as spirits? Yes, we can evolve and learn as spirits, but we must come to the planet, to the earth in our case, to learn, because like the spirit said, not only we evolved and we work, we have the need to live in a physical body, to learn the many lessons that we need to learn, but also, as we said before, we are co-creators as well while we are here in the physical body. We are part of the work that God has given to every soul that he has created. And also in the spiritual world, you can learn, but you can only put those things into practice when you are here on earth. Is in a way, it's like the earth or whatever planet we incarnate is the anvil, isn't it? You have the iron, you put the iron in the fire, and then you heat it to form. And I mean, you have beautiful things, I mean, they can create lovely things, but it needs to burn and to be shaped. Is the same thing, like you have the most beautiful porcelain, like I remember once picking up this cup, this Japanese cup, and honestly it was like paper. The porcelain was so pure, but even to have that kind of delicate thing, it needs to burn, isn't it? The clay needs to go into the fire to be shaped and to be done, to become like that. And I think that's exactly who we are. We have to go into the anvil of life of a physical body to become porcelain, to become beautiful things created in iron. That's one of the reasons. And also to participate in the creation of the universe and in the development of the universe. Say, for instance, now with the James Webb Telescope, they are finding so many things. It's been, I think, a year or less than a year, and has already all the knowledge that they are getting from the telescope. Everything that physics knows until now, they find in galaxies that were created before the Big Bang, and they have something else now they just discovered as well, some galaxies from before. How can you have things from the before the Big Bang? So the whole book needs to be rewritten, and that's, I think, this part of the work of creation that we are participating. We are now the movement of change, and sometimes it's very easy to become very despondent with some things that you hear, trying to be imposed on you. But on the other hand, you have this incredible knowledge that's coming to the spirits that are being born here and learning and helping us. And we are helping those who may be a little far behind us as well. We have this role to play. We learn from the ones above, but then we teach the ones who come behind. It's all part of this process of learning. And that's why we needed the physical body. Because is that why you put into practice what we learn in the spirit? Sorry, I talked a lot that time.
Rodrigo put it here, like a virtual game where we needed to wear a cloth to transport the sensations of the character to the player. Yeah.
I know a person that I met once in a conference we gave some time ago, and this person had really difficulties with reincarnation, and she told, my life was so difficult that I do never ever want no way to reincarnate. Yeah. And it's a little bit difficult to answer to such a person. The answer I gave her is, but you did reincarnate because you are here. And indeed, some spirits, they will not, once they are in the spiritual world, they will say, no way, I don't want to reincarnate. And since our free will is always respected by all the benefactors, nobody will force this person to reincarnate. And it can take centuries, millenniums, until this person decides again to reincarnate. And what will make this person reincarnate? She will see that the spirits that she the children or her family or whatever reincarnating are progressing, and this spirit is not progressing. So sometimes it's getting late in the evolution, and at the end ends up by changing his mind and making the decision to reincarnate in order to catch up the delays that this person accumulated by not willing to reincarnate. So, of course, we can also evolve, we can learn, we can make a lot of things in the spiritual world. But really, the fact to incarnate is really triggering a stronger and a quicker evolution for the spirit.
Exactly.
And I think there are things as well that people say, but they don't really mean it, because we know how there are more spirits in the spiritual world allocated to this planet than there are places of incarnation, even though we have billions of people in the planet. But we know that the process of incarnation takes a long time for you to be able to come back and everything. So sometimes we ask and we beg. So that's why life is so precious, because to have this opportunity of being here reincarnating, it's something that maybe we even work quite hard in the spiritual world to achieve. And I think, I never wanted to reincarnate. but you are, as you said, you are here. And, when we are in the spiritual world, we beg to come. And of course, there is a point that sometimes you have to come because that's the only way to progress spiritually. And like that question in Spirit's book, when Kardec asked the spirit, will everyone become a spirit of light? And the answer from the spirits was, it's your destiny. Like, you have no choice to become a spirit, progress spiritually, and I always love the answers. It's so short and sharp. And
Yeah.
there is, oh no, I don't think so. No, it's your destiny. How can you say?
It can seem contradictory with the free will, isn't it?
Yes,
We are condemned to progress.
yes,
Our free will is always limited by the law of nature, and the law of evolution is one of the law of nature.
exactly.
Like if you jump out of the window, you are not free to fall down or not. You will fall down. Okay,
Yes.
so the laws of nature are always prevailing somehow. We have the free will within the frame of the natural laws. So
Yeah.
this is one of them. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. We are not free not to progress. We can stay stationary during a long time, but at the end, we
Okay.
are condemned to progress.
But also, Charles, you said something that is very, very important, because when we go to the spiritual world, we meet the people we love because they are going to go back. And we have people that we met that are in the spiritual world, not reincarnating with us. And then you see everybody going, everybody progressing, and you staying behind. Comes a point, you said, no, I want it because I'm here on my own. When you could live in the top floor, you're still there living in the basement. You're going to scream and shout. I think the point you made, that Charles made, is very, very important to
Yes.
remember.
And as Rodrigo is writing, there is still determinism. Determinism is the natural laws. Our free will is always within this frame. Nevertheless, how to say, the where we are free is in our thoughts, our conscience. That is where our freedom is the biggest.
Exactly. And Mark saying, I'm sorry, I write too much, but it's an interesting subject. No, you helped us to build this. So your
Thank you,
comments,
Marco.
Marcos, it's making us, because we have some questions to kick off the conversation in a hope that this interaction happens and we answer your questions, not our questions. But thank you all for your point here. And unfortunately, we are up with our time. Let me go to the announcements here. So next Wednesday, 19th of April, at 9 p.m., we will talk about psychography. What is it, and is anyone able to do it? So next topic is psychography.
It's part of mediumship.
And again, our friend Fabrizio in Bournemouth is holding a group for Spiritism philosophy study. So if you are interested, please contact him. We are on the World Spiritism Month.
Even Spiritist psychology.
Psychology, yes.
You
Sorry.
told philosophy.
Yeah, psychology, yes. And we are on the World Spirit Month. Just go to the feal.com.br, and then you'll have all the talks. So it's every day we will have a talk from a friend from around the world. So please enjoy and make it possible. Um, on Saturdays, 10:30 a.m. London time, we have the Mediums book study with Guilherme Dias, Munir Garib, and Charles. And also every Monday at 8 p.m., our friend Ebony Paris gives a study of the book Astral City No Solar. And every other week, we will have the conversations on mediumship with Faye Waddington and Rafael Caldas. They had a show this week, so the next one it is in 2 weeks' time. And this is it for us. I want to say thank you, everyone, for your time. Thank you for your patience. Rodrigo will be with us next week. And if you have any, by the way, if you have any suggestion about topics we shall talk here, write to us. Put it here in the comment box, because this is for you guys, not for us. If you can answer, if you can talk about what you are suggesting, we are more than happy to bring over. Okay, so thank you. I'll see you next week. Charles, merci. Silvia,
Merci
thank
beaucoup.
you
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
for your efforts. Hope you get better for next week. Be 100%.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And God bless everyone. Have a
All
blessed
the best.
week.
You too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.